You sack of wine. You're an inanimate fucking object!
Stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder.
Is that your nose or did a bus park on your face?
If I had a dick, this is where I tell you to suck it.
Batman and Robin. Wow. Welcome back to the Roasting Movie segment. I recently restarted this with Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and I'm just going to keep it going every once in a while. I have a lot of fun talking shit about shitty movies that are either so bad they're good, or so bad I can't believe they got made, or just so bad they're good but they're better when you're drunk or high. Batman and Robin falls into the category of so bad it's good, and so bad it's good when you're drunk or high. Somehow, though, I managed to get through this movie without being drunk or high. So we have to talk about Batman and Robin. I figured, hey, I'm doing the movie roast for a Superman movie. Gotta do it for a Batman movie. And almost universally, everybody hates this movie. It's one of the worst superhero movies ever made. Actually, scratch that. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made. This came at a time when Warner Brothers was trying to make the Batman franchise more family-friendly, and they had these stipulations that had to be more toyetic. And oh yeah, you can definitely see it in Batman and Robin, because they thought Batman and Batman Returns, especially Batman Returns, were too dark. It wasn't very family friendly. It made less money than Batman in 1989. So how do we switch it up? We hired Joel Schumacher to make a more family friendly Batman movie with Batman Forever. And that was a pretty bad omen for what was to come with Batman and Robin. So let's talk about Batman and Robin and just roast this baby to a T. So the movie begins on the opening credits, and after the opening credits, we just get close-ups of asses and muscles and suits and even more bat nipples. What was Joel Schumacher thinking? The last thing in the world I want to see is close-ups of George Clooney's ass in a Batman suit at a Dutch angle. Like, what's up with all the angles when they're putting on their suits or when they're throwing all their gadgets all over the place? Because there's close-ups of gadgets later in the movie, too. And I'm just like, this is literally how this movie begins. And first of all, George Clooney as Batman. He replaced Val Kilmer from Batman Forever, so Val Kilmer probably would have come back for Batman and Robin. Dude, George Clooney makes Val Kilmer as Batman look like the Dark Knight as he is and ever should be. George Clooney is that bad as Batman. He does not look the part at all, first of all. You can easily tell it's George Clooney, and he doesn't change his voice or anything. That's the problem. And George Clooney even hates this movie.
But I showed up, and it was, I think you're right, it was really fun because they actually love, they all dress, they love what they do, and it's a very passionate thing. And I've never done a film, well, I did one film, Batman and Robin, which was a, yes. Oh, thank you. This was a disaster. But other than that, there's no reason for me to have ever done anything to go to Comic-Con.
But didn't you apologize to the crowd at Comic-Con for Batman and Robin?
I always apologize for Batman. Let me just say that I actually thought I destroyed the franchise until they brought it back. You know, somebody else brought it back years later and changed it. But, you know, I thought at the time this was going to be a very good career move. It wasn't.
He's the worst on-screen Batman we have ever had. I mean, he doesn't even try to change his voice. He plays Bruce Wayne the same as he plays Batman. You have to play all three facets of the character so well, which is what I think Christian Bale does the best out of all the live-action Batmans. And George Clooney epically fails here. But enough of that. You will never believe what the first lines of dialogue of this movie are. It's Robin going, "I want a car. Chicks dig the car." And Batman replying, "This is why Superman works alone."
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
This is why Superman works alone.
Wait. Hold on. Superman exists in this world? Oh yeah, that's right, because there was that reference in Batman Forever where Bruce was telling Dick Grayson when he was going off to try and get away from the Wayne Manor and he didn't want to live there. He's like, you can't go all the way to Metropolis. So Joel Schumacher has screwed over Superman twice in the span of two movies. I can't believe there was a Metropolis reference in Batman Forever, and now we have to say Superman exists in this world. And if he does exist in this world, where is he? Does he not like give a shit about Mr. Freeze being in Gotham? Is he just like doing his own stuff in Metropolis? Oh man. And then they show us the Batmobile. And this is literally the worst Batmobile I have ever seen. This thing looks like a toy. That's because it was designed to be a toy. It looks like a Hot Wheels car with a bunch of fluorescent light bulbs inside and neon lights. Whose idea was this is even worse than the one in Batman Forever? It's the same design, but there's more fucking lights. Why? And to make matters worse with this opening scene, Robin says, "Don't wait up for me, Alfred." And Alfred replies with, "I'll cancel the pizzas." And then you get the most obvious. Something is wrong with Alfred, or Alfred is sick, or there's something on Alfred's mind shots ever, like 25,000 seconds. And we dive into the first action scene of the movie where Batman and Robin have to go take out Mr. Freeze because Commissioner Gordon calls Batman over the Batcom and the Batmobile or something, and he's too lazy to go do stuff on his own, so he has to call Batman and Robin to go sort out the situation. And there they go, and that's when you realize that this movie is absolutely, fundamentally just a toy commercial and a cartoon. This entire movie, the tone that this is setting up is not only just that, but it also just feels like every set and even the costumes feel like they're ripped straight from a Batman on Ice comedy show. And even then, this isn't a comedy show. This isn't hilarious. It's not supposed to be, at least. But hey, you know what? I'm laughing because they're trying to beat up the goons. Batman and Robin are just flying everywhere on wires. The wire work in this movie is amazing. They're covering like 30,000 feet of distance on like jumping and all that. Robin's doing like spins in the air. It's freaking ridiculous. This is a Batman movie, not a Circus Soleil movie. Make it a Batman movie. And to make matters worse, they get tackled by Mr. Freeze's guards, and I will talk about Mr. Freeze in a minute because this is his big introduction to the movie. The main villain, his big introduction to the movie. And I just need to talk about his goons first, though, because they take out Batman and Robin, and they knock him out, and then Batman and Robin decide to click their heels together, and out come ice skates. Okay, how is that possible? Because is the blade, like, lodged deep in the shoe? Are they, like, stepping on, like, a metal blade? Like, wouldn't that, if that's nothing. It doesn't make sense. There's going to be so many things in this movie that don't make sense, and that's one of them. The funniest thing about this scene, though, is Freeze's goons have a bunch of fucking hockey sticks, and, like, Freeze has this diamond or something that Batman and Robin are trying to prevent him from getting, because I'll get into what that means in a little bit. Oh, yeah, be prepared for that. And, dude, they're playing hockey! Wow, like you're literally watching them play hockey. It's keep away with hockey sticks, metal hockey sticks, or frozen hockey sticks for all I know. It's all these goons dressed in like silver leotards with wings on them and silver hockey sticks, and they're playing hockey with a diamond. I have never seen anything more funny in a superhero movie that has a massive budget like this. How is this happening right now? As I said, this is our big introduction to the villain, Mr. Freeze, who was played in this movie by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who thought that was a good idea? Look, I love Arnold as much as the next person, but like his next big villain role after the Terminator is Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin. Did he even read the script for this thing? The script is horrible. The dialogue is horrible. Mr. Freeze in this movie, every single line of dialogue he has is an ice pun. His first one is his first line of dialogue.
The Iceman cometh.
There's about 269 more coming throughout this entire 2-hour runtime, which reminds me, we're only 15 minutes in. I got an hour and 45 to go, and I'm not drunk or high. fuck. I mean, seriously, whoever wrote the script is a complete moron, and whoever signed off on the script is an even dumber moron. Like, this is what you want for a Batman movie? You just want a Batman comedy show that's essentially a circus on ice, where Batman and Robin defy physics and jump through the air on wires, and Mr. Freeze has a bunch of ice puns that he's yelling all the time.
I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy.
And this is what you want for a Batman movie? This is what you think is more family friendly? Nah, this is just stupid, but kind of funny at the same time. So they finally get to Mr. Freeze, and he's in his rocket, and Batman and Robin manage to blow up his rocket. And as the rocket blows up, they get on parts of the rocket that are detached from the rocket, like the door or something, and they're surfing mid-air. There's an explosions going on behind them. Again, I must reiterate, this is a Batman movie.
Everything freezes.
And it's in this part where Robin says a word where I'm just like, okay, hold on. Yeah, he says cowabunga. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be pissed. They should file a lawsuit against the creators of this movie for plagiarism. The Ninja Turtles are awesome. But Freeze manages to escape, and he freezes Robin, but then, like, Freeze just leaves. Batman just like, he just lets him go, and, like, Freeze just leaves because he threatens Batman or something.
Can you be cold, Batman? You have 11 minutes to thaw the bird. What will you do? Chase the villain? Or save the boy? Your emotions make you weak. That's why this day's mine. I'll kill you next time.
And so Robin is frozen, and of course there's a giant puddle right there, or a giant pool, whatever you want to call it. So Batman manages to put a frozen Robin into that pool. And what he has to do is he has to heat up the water. So he has this gadget that allows the water to heat up. And that water is red, man. I am telling you, that is like thermal red. I am pretty sure Robin will be thawed, but I'm pretty sure once he comes out of that water, he should have burns all over his skin, and he doesn't. He comes out fully thawed like nothing happened. Wow. This man should be in the hospital with second-degree burns. Come on. This is like logical stuff, guys. None of this makes any sense.
You are not sending me to the cooler.
That water should have been boiling hot. He should have fried in there. Why didn't he? And this action scene is finally over, and it felt like an eternity. I honestly thought the last time I had watched this movie, this thing went on for like about a half hour, but it's only 15 to 20 minutes in. And after this 15 to 20 minutes, we are introduced to another villain in the movie, played by Uma Thurman, and that is Pamela Isley, or as we know her as Poison Ivy. Uma Thurman, I'm pretty sure she was coming off an Oscar win, or she was a few years after her Oscar win, and her playing Poison Ivy, there is no way you would ever believe she would win an Oscar. And let me just tell you, Poison Ivy in this movie, holy shit, man. What a slut. Oh my gosh, she's like kissing every dude. She's being seductive with everybody. She's just saying all these like one-liners that you would hear on Pornhub.com. She's essentially an OnlyFans model who had to resort to OnlyFans because she failed on Pornhub.com. Yeah, that's her in this movie. She has this weird spell that can like mesmerize people into falling in love with her. So she'll just randomly pull it out at times when she starts to get seductive and slutty. She'll be like, shibba-da, and it'll just go right into their mouths or their nostrils, and they'll be like, oh my God, Poison Ivy, I'm in love with you. You see these tactics? This doesn't work. And if you don't believe that I think she was a former porn star, just listen to some of this dialogue.
Why not send Junior home early? I've got some wild oats to sow. On the other hand, youth does have its advantages. Endurance, stamina. Forget the geriatric bat. Come, join me. My garden needs tending.
And Uma Thurman's acting, just as she's Pamela Isley, her regular acting, not when she's acting seductive and sexy like Poison Ivy, her regular acting in this is horrible. I mean, she's saying lines like this. And it's here we were also introduced to my favorite character in the whole movie, Dr. Jason Woodrow, because he is played magnificently by the one and only 7-time Best Worst Parent of the Year award winner, John Glover. Oh, John Glover is the best part of this movie. Hands down, dude. The dude knows what type of movie he's in. He knows this is a stupid-ass movie, so he's just hamming it up with his performance. He puts on some, like, weird accents. I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, a New York accent or, like, a New Jersey accent, but, dude, it's John Glover. The man knows what to do. If you've never seen him as Lionel Luthor in Smallville, you gotta watch Smallville. He is so good as Lionel Luthor. And I remember finding out, like, years after Smallville had ended, because I was too young when I watched this movie to know who he was. But when I found out that he was actually in this movie, I was like, what is John Glover doing in this movie? But lo and behold, he's the best part. Just watching anything with John Glover, anytime he's on screen, it's just magical. Okay? And he has this great line that feels like only Nicolas Cage should deliver it, but it's John Glover, and he makes it sound even more glorious than Nicolas Cage.
I'm afraid you'll have to die.
In that case, I'm afraid you'll have to die. Oh man, so much fun with John Glover. That's the type of camp I want from this movie. If we're going there, that's what it needs to be. But unfortunately, he dies. Poison Ivy kills him. The best part of the movie. And you know what? Woodrow is also the creator of Bane in this movie. He's the reason Bane exists in this movie, and Bane is just, he's not Bane. Look, I think Tom Hardy's gotten a little bit of flack for that Bane voice in The Dark Knight Rises, and people are like, that's not really a comic accurate Bane. You know what, though? I'll take that a million times over this green, veiny, liquid-looking pickle guy who's just like, Bane! Or if he's driving a car and Poison Ivy's like, Bane, exit, he'll be like, exit. His lines are one-word sentences. Bomb! 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 That's not Bane, okay? He looks like he's on chemo as well. So Batman and Robin are now investigating security camera footage of what exactly made Mr. Freeze go crazy. And this security camera footage is like crystal clear as day. Like this movie was made in 1997. I don't think security camera footage was that clear back in the day. There was no way. Like now, yeah, but there's no way. It would be all pixelated and snowy like our TVs were back in the day. There is no way a picture can have 4K image quality in 1997. Also, it's got audio quality. What? Security footage from back then has picture perfect audio and picture. Oh no, shit. Now I'm just turning into a nerd. This is like the nerd side of me coming out. If I wasn't already a nerd, I think I'm turning into even more of a nerd. Thanks a lot, Batman and Robin. And Mr. Freeze is still out there, so what does he have his goons do? He has them sing Christmas carols.
I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr. Snow. I'm Mr. Icicle. I'm Mr. 10 Below. Friends call me Snow Miser. Whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch.
Come on, sing! Louder, come on, sing! Come on! Yes, come on, louder!
But he has this one dude named Frosty. Of course, he has a goon named Frosty. He's like the most loyal henchman ever. If you thought Bob in Batman 89 was awesome, Frosty doesn't really do anything in this movie, but he does help Mr. Freeze in this scene. And it's here where we learn about Mr. Freeze's plan. Okay, I have to actually look at my notes to tell you what Mr. Freeze's plan for this movie is, because this is going to sound really fucking dumb coming out of my mouth. I'm not joking. And I cannot memorize his plan verbatim, word for word, how I have it written down. I just copied the dialogue and rewound it about 30 times to try and get this plot right. But here we go. Mr. Freeze's plan in this movie, listen to how ridiculous this sounds, is to power his giant freezing engine to freeze Gotham City and hold Gotham ransom for billions of dollars so that he can acquire another giant diamond to complete his research to find a cure for his wife.
You
serious?
Okay, I have so many questions here. Okay, why are you holding Gotham City ransom for billions of dollars when it looks like you're already rich, man? Like, how'd you get that suit? Just sell the diamond you have to get the $1 billion. This is like shitty business right here. Just sell the diamond. That way you get the money you need to create the more I think about this, oh, this is giving me a headache. We got to focus on this giant telescope because he's going to use this telescope later in the movie. So keep an eye on this telescope because apparently that's part of his plan too. God damn, Jesus. Mr. Freeze, man. Just use the... Okay, I'm done. After this, we are introduced to Barbara Gordon. Oh, wait, she's not Barbara Gordon. She's Barbara Wilson, and she happens to be Alfred's niece. This movie couldn't even give us Barbara Gordon. It had to be Barbara Wilson. Like, they couldn't even do that. They couldn't even get that right. Batgirl is in this movie. They couldn't even get Barbara Gordon. And to make matters worse, there's this whole subplot with Alfred doing research into where the whereabouts of his brother Wilfred or something. The fuck do I care? Alfred's dying. Focus on that. I don't want him researching where is the whereabouts of his long-lost brother that we've never heard of for 4 movies now is. Who the fuck is Wilfred? I don't give a shit. Going nowhere. Until the end, and they keep bringing it up in the movie. He keeps telling Batgirl, just give this to Wilfred when you get there. Oh, who cares, Alfred? Like, you're dying. Focus on getting cured. Don't worry about your long-lost brother. You'll find him eventually. And so Poison Ivy becomes full-fledged Poison Ivy, you know, like porn star, OnlyFans model Poison Ivy, and she starts seducing people, and we are at the costume ball. Which brings us to the iconic auction scene where she's auctioning herself off because she uses that little spell to seduce Batman and Robin, and they're trying to bid for her amongst all the other people in the crowd. And then Batman whips out the Bat credit card. You will notice the expiration date says forever. Wow, subtle reference to your previous movie. Good job. Also, I hate the sound effects in this movie. When Batman whips that thing out, there's a cash register sound effect. Listen.
7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
It's fucking stupid. Yeah, sure. There's a Bat credit card, and you never leave the cave without it. There has to be a Bat everything, huh? There's a Batarang, a Batmobile, a Bat signal. There's a Bat bike in this movie. Now you're telling me there's a fucking Bat credit card? Are there Bat dollar bills too, where instead of George Washington on it, it's Batman on it? Their Bat currency? I bet you there is. And we're introduced to another action scene, and again, aside from looking like it's, you know, something off of a comedy show on ice, including Batman, every scene in this movie, every action scene at least, looks like it's just designed to sell toys. That's what this movie was made for. It was made to be toyetic. It was made to sell toys. You can tell that opening action scene with the hockey players is going to be a Lego set. You can tell that this action scene, yeah, that's definitely going to be a Playmobil set.
Merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up this door. Come, walk this way. Take a look. We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising, merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
Here's the problem with realizing this now, because this is where it really starts to come to a head, where it's like, okay, this thing is just made because they want merchandising and toys to, like, rule out if this thing fails at the box office, is that here's what you realize. The toys aren't a byproduct of the movie. The movie is a byproduct of the toys, and it should be the other way around. There might be some gaps in here because there were, like, parts of this movie where I was like, do I even write all of this down, because we'd be here all day. But essentially Freeze starts to enact his plan to start freezing all the citizens of Gotham City and freezing Gotham itself, and Commissioner Gordon needs help from Batman and Robin, and Batman notices that people are frozen, and he essentially says this to Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner, you have 11 minutes to thaw these people.
And he just takes off. It doesn't even help. Yeah, well, thanks for the help, Batman. You're being a real dick about this, you shithead. Why don't you help these people? There could be people dying or frozen in there. There could be people dying from hypothermia. Help them. Don't just run off. That's why we hate you as Batman, George Clooney. And then this leads to a car chase down a giant statue in Gotham City because, of course, there's like 5 statues in this movie, and you have to have these toyetic cars that look like Hot Wheels cars infused with fluorescent neon light bulbs driving up the statues, around the arms of the statues. And Mr. Freeze has like this thing that looks like a tank with spikes on the end of it. That's his vehicle, and it's silver, of course. And he has this giant gun that he's shooting at the Batmobile, and of course the Batmobile gets frozen. But this somehow leads Batman to catching Mr. Freeze, and he just reveals him with his cape like he's a circus performer. Did Batman just break the fourth wall? Was he just like, look at me, look what I just caught, the Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
The movie then cuts back to Bane and Poison Ivy going to the Turkish bath scene. Who are these guys? Why do I care? They're green. Like, is this the Blue Man Group, but green? They look like the Blue Man Group. Like, what is the point? I don't know what the point of some of these scenes are in this movie. It's just there to make action figures and toys. That's it. So, of course, we have to somehow incorporate Barbara Wilson, not Gordon, into this movie. And as I said, she's, living at the mansion. She's kind of struggling with what she's doing there. And she thinks she has a bigger purpose. Sure, she at least wants a bigger purpose. That was my understanding of it. And so her big idea of having fun with Dick Grayson is them getting into a motorcycle race, like a drag race. And this is the most out of place scene in the movie. Like, again, this is just here to sell Lego sets and other toys and maybe like wind up toys so that you can have this motorcycle and play with it. That's all this movie is. But if the scene did anything else, it probably did something worse. This probably set the precedence for the creation of Fast and Furious, and I can never forgive this scene for that. And before we go any further, we have to mention the Coolio cameo. Coolio cameos in this scene. Coolio in a Batman movie. No music for the soundtrack, but hey, he's in the movie anyway. The last time they did this, it was like Busta Rhymes in a Halloween movie or something, but at least he had a prominent role. He sucked in it, but man, Coolio in a Batman movie. Sadly, it's got to be this one. And you know what? Quite frankly, thank God it's this one. Thank God it wasn't 89 because he would stick out like a sore thumb in that movie. So Freeze is captured and put in Arkham Asylum, which doesn't even look like an asylum. It just looks like a giant mansion with a bunch of brick walls and rooms in it. And he's put in there by a cameo by Jesse Ventura. And Poison Ivy and Bane decide to break him out. And how are they going to break him out? Well, he gets all of his equipment back. He gets his suit back. And he gets his freeze gun back. So you know what he does? He freezes the pipes and blows a hole in the wall. And that's how he escapes. That's how they escape. The pipes would be frozen. Does anybody check these scripts over for logical reasons? That doesn't work. And the props, it's funny because you can see some of the props in this, and like they're opening a door and there's like icicles on the door and you can see the icicles wobbling. I'm like, really? That's the best you got? How much did this movie cost? 90 million? That's the best you can do in 90 million. You have the props wobble back and forth like that. Come on, just try. So Poison Ivy manages to get Batman in her clutches, and she has to mention the anatomically correct Batman suit. She even says anatomically correct suit. Oh my God! Can this movie end yet? Nope! Because we still have 40 minutes to go. So she uses the spell on Robin, and he's, of course, like, seduced by her. And throughout much of the runtime of this movie, Robin is pissed at Bruce. He's just like, dude, you get all the girls. Can you, like, save one for me? She's not into you, bro. Like, why are you trying to steal her from me? And it's because of that spell that Poison Ivy puts on people. So he's like seduced by Poison Ivy. And he's like, no, she wants me, bro, okay? And it's causing a rift in their relationship. Really? This is what's causing a rift between Batman and Robin, fighting over women. See ya. This is another subplot that is added on to the movie that is just a massive, massive waste of time. I don't care about Robin's struggles trying to get a woman or trying to just fuck any living thing that he sees that's in existence. Who cares? Dude, like, there's a woman right there. Just ask her. Don't get jealous of Batman, you moron. And it's after this where we are introduced to Poison Ivy's plan. And I have to read this from my notes too, because I can't remember it verbatim, just like, you know, Mr. Freeze's plan. This will probably sound really dumb coming out of my mouth as well. So Poison Ivy's big plan in Batman and Robin is she's going to kill everyone on Earth by using her deadly plants to make her and Freeze rule the world. And Freeze says, yes, we're going to be Adam and evil. This is eye-rolling, cringe-inducing dialogue. But at the same time, you can't help but laugh at how bad the dialogue is. It is horrible. It is laughably horrible, but cringy at the same time. This is where she teams up with Mr. Freeze. And I had this at the bottom of my notes, but I'm going to bring it up here now. Like, what is the points of her teaming up with Mr. Freeze? Kind of guess that they have similar ideas. Like, they both want to, like he wants to freeze Gotham. She wants to kill everyone in Gotham with her deadly plants. So I guess their goals are similar there, but they have way different motivations. But it's really not that similar. So I really don't get the team up here. And, like, why Bane's also part of the equation. I mean, he's following Poison Ivy around for most of the movie, but instead of being Poison Ivy's bitch for the last 30 minutes, he becomes Mr. Freeze's bitch for the last 30 minutes. So I really don't get the connection. It doesn't make any sense. And then Barbara has to go into Alfred's room because he's dying. He's like, give this to my brother Wilfred next time you see him. And she brings it to the Batcave. And that is how she finds out about the secret identities of Batman and Robin. That's how she finds out that they are Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. And it's so dumb, too, because you can actually see the reflection of the screen on her face. And this AI version of Alfred that appears on the screen is like, it's like, I left you a suit so you can go help them when the time is right. It's like, I sized you up, Barbara. And so now she becomes Batgirl, the crime-fighting alter ego of Barbara Wilson in this movie. And guess what? We get more close-ups at Dutch angles of Alicia Silverstone's ass. Okay, yeah, she was, what, like 20 in this movie? This is making me uncomfortable right now. But she looks a lot younger. That's the problem. So she meets up with Batman and Robin. And remember that giant telescope I was telling you about? Yeah, so there's this giant telescope at the Gotham Observatory. And Freeze ends up using his diamonds on that telescope to convert that telescope into a giant ray gun so he can freeze the city. That's how he's going to freeze the city, with a giant telescope turned into a ray gun. He probably said a stupid ice pun after that, didn't he?
Tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming.
Yeah, he did. And man, everybody just keeps dropping one-liners at this point. The one-liners are horrible. You're laughing at them, and that's what makes them horrible. But the thing is, the movie thinks it's taking itself so seriously that it thinks it's clever. No. And then Batman has to ask a Batgirl, her alter ego, and she's like, I'm Batgirl. And what's his response?
And you are?
Batgirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about bad person?
Seriously, man? That's not politically correct? Come on, man. And then we dive into the last action scene of this movie. And oh, look, here they come in their futuristic Hot Wheels fluorescent light bulb lit vehicles that nobody knows how they got those. And where did Batgirl get hers? How did she get a vehicle? There's no vehicle in the Batcave for her. Where did she get that motorcycle? And they're discussing how they're going to beat Freeze, and could they be more obvious as to how they're going to beat Freeze? Each one of the three of them says something that connects to how they're going to beat him, and that's how they beat him.
Reverse the freezing process.
We'll summarize them for 5 hours.
Here.
But it's morning in the Congo.
if we could relay the sunlight.
From the other side of the equator.
It'll take the satellites about a minute to realign, but...
So Batman and Freeze start to fight while Robin and Batgirl have to go to the telescope that fell down and do something on the telescope. Don't ask me what. I didn't pay attention during that. And you know how every Batman gets like a cool line to say to the villain as he's going to defeat him? Like, I know that this line gets a lot of flack, but in The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane's like, "So you came back to die with your city," and Christian Bale Batman's like, "No, I came back to stop you." Yeah, that's not really a great like line or anything. It's a lot better than this, though.
Hey, Freeze.
The heat is on.
Now get out of here!
That's really the best they got for like Clooney's big Batman line, huh? Hey, Freeze. The heat is on. Yeah, Clooney does this a lot as Batman. I'm Batman. I'm George Clooney. Hi, Freeze. The heat is on. That's not very PC. And then they take this telescope and they are able to reconfigure it so that it shoots a heat beam at the buildings. And seriously, some of these buildings should just catch fire because the beam is still shooting at the buildings that they just thought out before moving to the next building. That building should be on fire. Why isn't it? And once they do this, yay, Batman saves the day. And the shittier Batman theme that plays in both this and Batman Forever plays instead of the Danny Elfman theme, because Danny Elfman was like, nope, these movies are gonna suck, so I don't even want to do the music for them. Good job, man. I'm glad you realized that. You were like Michael Keaton. You realized, nope, the direction of this franchise blows. So I'm not even going to do the music. They thaw the city and everything's back to normal, and then Freeze finds out that Batman didn't kill his wife. It was actually Poison Ivy. And now he's like, revenge time, 'cause I'm on here. And now we finally get to the end of the movie, and oh, look, Alfred's alive. They got a cure for Alfred. Like, that was not the most predictable thing you've ever seen. Of course it was. It was coming from like 10 miles away. You lingered on the fact that he was sick or had a disease for like 30 times in this movie. Of course we know he's sick, but that's not it. To make matters worse, there's one final shot in this movie where all three heroes are running in front of the bat signal towards the screen to try and amp you up and get you hyped for a fifth Batman movie.
We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Batman Unchained, or Batman Triumphant, whatever it was gonna be called. And, no, this movie completely killed the Batman franchise. Luckily, this was so bad that Christopher Nolan came in and was like, hey, you know, Batman and Robin, like, that fucking sucked, so here, do this. And Warner Brothers was like, okay. And luckily we got Batman Begins, and that led to the great Dark Knight trilogy, because let's just face it, after watching Batman and Robin, nobody wants to see a sequel. Nobody wants to watch Batman Unchained or Batman Triumphant or whatever the hell it was going to be called. Jesus Christ, Joel Schumacher. I'm sorry, I'm speaking ill of the dead. Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. Okay, I do like some of the stuff you do, not Batman. So that is Batman and Robin. Sadly, you know, I think everybody involved in this film really regrets their participation. I mean, you can go on the special features of the Blu-ray or the DVD, whatever copy you have, or the 4K, and you can just try and listen to people defend this movie, but they clearly don't. Chris O'Donnell literally says, felt like I was just making a giant toy commercial for 2 hours. And that's essentially what this movie is. And as much of a half-assed apology as it is, and I really don't really see it as much of an apology, at least Joel Schumacher acknowledged that this was a terrible movie. He's like, I'm the director, it's my fault, apologies. I'm like, you know what? At least he's holding himself accountable. Like, his apology was...
If there's anybody watching this that, let's say, loved Batman Forever and went into Batman and Robin with great anticipation, if I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize, because it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to entertain them.
I mean, the thing is, nobody really loved Batman Forever, but it's clear that the studio mandated him to make a more family-friendly Batman movie with Batman Forever, and that just led them to making a more family-friendly and toyetic Batman movie with Batman and Robin. Yes, it is one of the worst movies ever made. and it's a lot better if you're high or drunk. But I still had a lot of fun watching it, even though I was sober and not on drugs. And I had fun talking shit about it, because it's fun to talk shit about bad movies sometimes. Sometimes it's just therapeutic. So that is my roast of Batman and Robin. If you guys want to check out my other roasts that I've done, I will leave the playlist at the end of this video. I will also leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.